Everybody, first of all, I have to start off by asking you all, what's the deal with this weather in this state, huh? Boy, oh boy. I leave South Bend. I think I'm coming to the land of sun and warmth, and all we've had is cold and rain. You know, I told my players a very important lesson the other day. I had to go to South Bend last weekend, unfortunately, for a funeral. The coach that replaced me at Notre Dame, his wife passed away, and it was a very solemn occasion and a very sad thing. But while I was up there, the weather was in the 30s, and it was raining, pretty dreary and nasty. And when I got off the plane coming back here, I got off the plane, it was 30s, and it was dreary and nasty. And I told the players, you know, while I was in South Bend, all the people could do was talk about how unseasonably warm it was in South Bend. I get off the plane here and everybody's complaining about the cold and the wetness. So perspective is everything, people, everything. Yeah, the weather has been a little bit of a hindrance for us. We haven't officially started with full squad workouts yet, as Bill mentioned. We'll begin those on Thursday. But the kids have been limited in how much they can do on their own and how much we've been able to do in individual practices with them. We have, however, probably because the coaching staff is used to coaching in South Bend, and that has now adapting to whatever your situation is, philosophy has kind of permeated to the players now. In the driving rain, we've had pitchers going against hitters in simulated games and that type of thing, even though the infield is underwater or the outfield grass is too wet to get on. So we've been able to get something done. I mentioned several times that our main goal starting the season or starting these workouts was to get our pitchers out on the mound and to get their pitch counts up. I'm a very big believer in trying to do my part in ensuring the health of the pitchers throughout the season and throughout their careers. So it is my goal that by the opening weekend, February 9th, 10th, and 11th, that our starting pitchers would have the capability of going out there and pitching maybe 5-6 innings tops and get up to maybe 75 or 80 pitches. So we're okay. This past weekend, all the pitchers went out there and threw 55 pitches in simulated games. This coming weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the pitchers will go 4 innings and up to, I believe, 65 or 70 pitches. And then the following weekend, which would be the weekend immediately preceding our opener, we'll start to draw back certain relief pitchers and have them pitch multiple times in scrimmage games or simulated games, and hopefully the starters will extend to the point where they'll be ready to go 5 or 6 innings by opening weekend. So that's going to force us to use a lot of pitchers that opening weekend against St. Mary's, which I'm very excited about doing. I'm hoping that we can develop a staff of 10 or 11 guys that we can count on, and just about everybody's going to get their opportunity starting that first weekend, and we'll see who kind of pitches their way into situations. In addition to getting the pitch counts up, the other goal is to get all the position players as many live at-bats as we can to get their timing and their get some experience so that they're ready to go for the start of the season. Now, people are concerned about the rain and how much it's put us behind, but in all honesty, I'm not concerned about it one iota. Again, your experience tells you everything, and what I did for the last 12 years in South Bend, we had 1 day of practice on the field prior to our first game. So when I tell you I'm really not that concerned that we're only going to have 2 weeks of practice, believe me, I think 2 weeks is a lot of time. So we'll be fine. We'll be ready to go. I'm not concerned about it one iota. Before I take questions from you all, I'd like to just make one announcement about some things that have happened with the team in a very positive light. This fall semester, our team had a team grade point average, an average GPA of 2.88. Which people tell me that was the highest single semester grade point average in the last 10 years in the baseball program. So I'm really proud of that, and I think I've made it pretty clear with the players and even publicly that one of our goals in this program, besides succeeding at a very high level on the field, is to see our kids really improve academically and work towards graduating it from LSU and getting the job done in the classroom. So to achieve a 2.88 with 19 players achieving a 3.0 or better. I think we had 7 with a 3.5 or better, and we had 1 4.0 student. So I'm really happy about that, excited about that, and I think the kids are really getting the message about what I think is necessary for them to participate in our program. I know I'm probably going to receive some questions about the news that we released yesterday that Jared Bogany has asked for and been granted a release to transfer to another school. You know, if you want to ask questions, you can feel free to do so, but I'll just make a short statement about that again. You know, when I came here in the summer of last year, and in every conversation that I had with each of our players, I made it very clear what the expectations that I had of our players was going to be, not only on the field, but off the field, in the classroom, and so forth. And I have very high expectations and very high standards for what those kids should do to represent this university. And if they're going to pull that jersey on over their head, I expect an awful lot out of them. And, you know, in some ways, it's a lot more expectations than some players are used to having put on them. And some of them have adapted tremendously, and I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited about their love of LSU and their commitment to the baseball program and so forth. Some kids have not quite adapted to the level that you would hope that they would. You know, in Jared's case, I talked to him earlier, or late in the week last week about his situation. I basically explained to him again that he had not earned a starting position, that it was still going to be a competitive situation, you know, that there were certain things that he needed to change about the way that he did things. After the discussion, he informed me that maybe it was better if he just went somewhere else where maybe he felt a little more comfortable, which I granted him his release. I didn't want him to leave. I didn't encourage him to leave, but he made his decision that for his best interest it would be better off being at another school, and that's okay. You know, I hate to see anybody leave, especially a young man that I personally like, which I do, Jared, and it's just that, you know, he was not meeting the expectations that I had for him, and he was a little bit frustrated that he couldn't do that, I guess. So he's going to leave, and a lot of people are wondering what the impact that's going to have on our team. Personally, you know, and this is not in any way meant as a detrimental comment about Jared, but I believe what it does is it provides opportunities for other kids in the program that I have a great deal of confidence in. I'm really excited about Blake Dean. He's a freshman outfielder that missed most of the fall practice with a broken wrist. I think in the first few days that we've worked out, he's shown a lot of great things. And you know, without having Jared in the mix, it's probably going to mean that I'm just going to give more opportunities to kids like Blake Dean. And I feel very confident that he's going to reward that confidence I have in him with giving us a good year, and he's going to have a great career. Also, Jared Mitchell, who has come out since he was with the football program all fall. He's getting a little bit of a slow start with the bat, but he's such a great athlete. I have no doubt that this kid is going to adapt to the college game, the speed of the college game in baseball, and he's going to be a fine player for us. So along with those two guys, Steven Bershofsky and Steve Wagaspak, I feel like we've got 4 quality outfielders there. Chris McGee can certainly be an outstanding 5th outfielder for us in a lot of ways. Even guys like Jeffrey Garrido, who's an infielder from Catholic High School, I've been working him in the outfield, and he's swinging the bat very well too, so there gives us another option. So I feel like we're fine with our position players. I'm not worried in the least about this creating any kind of a void in our position players, and I think we're going to do just fine. I should also mention very quickly again before I take any questions, Chris Jackson is out with the team. He's looked fantastic in the little bit that we've been able to do. I think there was one dry day where he was able to get out on the field, and he took a bunch of balls at second base and worked with Mike Hollander, and quite frankly, I got pretty excited. My confidence in our team increased exponentially because of watching Chris Jackson go out there and perform, especially with Hollander. I think we're going to have an outstanding infield defensively, and it appears to me that Jackson, after a long layoff, is not going to take very long to get his batting eye back. He's swinging the bat well, and I think it's going to add a lot to our team. So the addition of Dean and Mitchell and Jackson, I think, really gives us a big shot in the arm, and I like our team a lot more today than I did at the end of October when we finished up fall practice. Billy, is there anything else I should touch upon? Yes. Is that next weekend already? My goodness. Goodness gracious. Okay, next weekend we're going to have the festivities for the Alumni Weekend. I'm really excited about this. Thursday night we're going to have our opening pitch banquet in the PMAC. We're going to celebrate the national championship teams of '96 and '97. We're going to introduce our present team to the folks. It should be a festive atmosphere and a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to interacting with all the baseball alums and the fans that are going to come back for the golf tournament. And then on Saturday with the Baton Rouge Clinic, I believe this is the 60th consecutive year, if I'm not mistaken. Great tradition, a great community service for that our players, along with the Southern University players and coaches, are going to provide for the kids. I'm looking forward to the whole weekend. And I'm really looking forward also to getting through some scrimmage games and really developing the team and getting them ready for the following weekend when we'll open up against St. Mary's. But it's going to be a great event. Again, I'm really looking forward to interacting with the LSU alumni. I've received so many letters of encouragement, support, emails, and so forth from so many of the LSU baseball alums. And, there's such a rich tradition here, a winning tradition. These kids have a lot of, they're not kids anymore, I guess, but they have a lot of pride in what they've developed here, and I feel a great responsibility to do my part in trying to restore the glory to LSU baseball, and I'm looking forward to talking to a lot of those guys and getting their feelings about what we need to do to get LSU back where we belong.
Coach, we were talking
Yes,
about 55-pitch bullpens you've been seeing. Are they right now just throwing fastballs and change-ups, or have they gotten into breaking balls yet?
Well, some of them are throwing breaking balls. Some of them are not. The ones that are coming off some arm issues. We had a young man throw yesterday by the name of T.J. Forrest, as well as Michael Bonura. It was the first time I'd seen Michael Bonura throw off the mound. Those two guys do exclusively fastballs and change-ups. And I'll tell you, they both got me excited, as Dean and Jackson and Mitchell did as position players. Those two kids also got me very excited about it. Our pitching staff being better than it was this fall. But those two guys were exclusively fastball change-ups. The rest of the guys are mixing in breaking balls. So we're moving along fine. I can't say enough what a great job Terry Rooney is doing with those kids. And they've learned a lot. They're working hard. And I think our pitching staff is really going to surprise people this year.
Coach, do you have any idea where Jarrett might be headed, and what are the transfer rules in baseball?
If you're in good academic standing and the school that you're transferring away from is willing to grant a release of the one-year transfer residency requirement, then a player can become eligible to play at another school right away, of which Jared is in good academic standing, and I'm willing to let him go. I'm not sure which school he's going to go to. I know a couple of schools have been mentioned. I talked this morning with the coach at Arizona State about him, and I know a couple of other schools have expressed some interest. Long Beach State, I think, Sam Houston State. I'm not really sure what he's going to do, but again, I wish him luck. He's a nice kid, and I'm just sorry it didn't work out for him here, but I have no ill feelings towards him, and I don't think he has any towards us. It's just going to be a better situation for him somewhere else. I believe we do have an SEC rule, Michael. I think Herb or Bill, do you guys know what it is? I think it's 2 years maybe, or 2 years sitting out. Yeah, it's very much discouraged. So I would not be in favor of him transferring to another SEC school anyway. So. Mike, if they can go out there and have 15 pitch innings, I'll be ecstatic. I've been around the game too long to know that how you plan it out isn't exactly how it happens sometimes. So we'll be ready for that. But the question's been asked to me before, how am I going to approach these pre-SEC games? Are they going to be more like spring training, or are we going to really try to win them? I can promise all Tiger fans that we are going to try to win every single game that we play. We owe that to our fans. It's my nature anyway, and it's going to be the way the kids are going to think. And we're going to try to win every single game, but at the same time, we're going to keep an eye on the long-term goals. And I don't want to win 3 games against St. Mary's and blow out a bunch of arms and then not have them for the rest of the year. So we're going to take good care of the kids, and we're going to make sure that we progress so that we're a better team as the year progresses, and towards the end of the year. If we can get 5 innings out of a kid and he does it in 75 pitches, I think that'll be a very positive thing.
Coach, you talked about, your satisfaction with progression of the pitchers. Hitters usually come along a little bit quicker than the pitchers do. How are you liking the pitcher looks right now?
They look 100% better than they did in the fall. I'm really excited. I mean, I don't know if that's coming across very clear, but the little bit that we've done so far, I think we're a much better team today than we were at the end of October. And a big reason why I feel that way is because I see the way the hitters are grasping Cliff Godwin's concepts and the things that we've worked with them on. And I would say this first weekend the hitters outperformed the pitchers. All fall, the pitchers were outperforming the hitters. And so it gives me hope that we're going to have a decent offensive team. I still don't think we're going to be a team that's going to knock the fences down. We just don't have that kind of personnel right now. So we're going to have a little bit of a mixture. We're going to have to create some things, run the bases well, do some hit and running, bunting, stealing bags, and then hope that we can pop one out every so often when needed. And I think we'll have that kind of a team. I'll tell you, Blake Dean and Chris Jackson, I can't tell you how much I feel that those 2 kids are going to really boost our whole offensive scheme of things. I just think both those kids are outstanding hitters, great kids, competitors, and they're going to be very vital guys for us. And I think Jared Mitchell, in time, will get his batting eye and his timing and get some experience, and he's going to end up being a great player for us, too.
When Chris came out a couple of years ago, all the guys kind of were in awe of his attitude. Do you see that football attitude, that winning attitude?
Mike, I've had a lot of years, I got a lot of notches in the belt, so to speak, in this business, okay? And every so often, you come across a kid that you just know he's got it. I used to say that about Jeff Samardzija when I first met him up at Notre Dame. Even before I ever saw him toe the slab, I just had a feeling about that kid because of his demeanor, his self-confidence, and so forth. And I feel the same way about Chris Jackson. When I visited with him during fall and I heard people like you and others tell me about what he did a couple of years ago, I could just get this vision in my mind about what he was going to be like. And I tried to not get too excited because I wasn't even sure if he was going to play because of football, and plus I wanted to make sure I kept an open mind about it. But even just being around him for a week so far, you could see there's something about him. There's an air of confidence. There's a enthusiasm that he has. There's an intensity. You could tell he's just a gamer. He's got it written all over him. And he's my kind of player. He'd be any coach's kind of player, but certainly going to be my kind of player. So I'm really excited about it. Jim, I do think he will. Just if any of you don't know the story about Mike, he I guess as a freshman 3 years ago, Bill, he pitched quite a bit, and then he's had a series of arm issues. He's had a couple of surgeries. The second surgery that he had at the beginning of fall was not as major as the Tommy John reconstructive surgery. But it doesn't sound major to me. It probably sounds major to everybody, but it wasn't as major as the Tommy John surgery. He had to have a nerve moved to the other side of his elbow. It's not something I'd like to have happen to me, but in a relative term, it wasn't as serious. And so now he's finally throwing without pain, and you can see how excited he is. I thought yesterday when he threw, he had good velocity. His control was okay. It could get better. He threw some good change-ups. I think he's going to be ready to go for the start of the season. I'm really hoping so. I'm counting on it.
Coach, you talked about stealing and hit and run and laying out bunts. Is manufacturing runs going to come into play here with the weather? I know you're from up in South Bend. You have to manufacture runs. What's the point of running
Well,
forward?
You know, Cole, when I coached at Notre Dame, it was a really good lesson for me for the last 12 years because our field was a lot like Wrigley Field, which all of you that were in Chicago this past weekend, it's 90 miles away. So we dealt with the same thing, the weather issues in South Bend as they do at Wrigley. Wrigley Field, as well as our stadium at Notre Dame, could either be a very hitter-friendly ballpark or it could be a pitcher-friendly ballpark. It all depended on the way the wind blew. And I've come to the realization now, and I kind of knew this from my days here and at UNO when I was a student, that February can be kind of chilly and the air can be kind of heavy and the wind can blow, especially when I was at UNO off that lake, off Lake Pontchartrain. So I know that you have to be prepared to try to win any kind of game. I have the sense that when we start playing, if the weather is cool and the air is a little heavy and the wind's blowing in a little bit, you got to be ready to win those 2-1 games. And you win those 2-1 games with obviously pitchers throwing strikes, playing good defense behind them, and then you might have to manufacture a run or two. One good hit and run may mean the difference in the ball game. Executing one sacrifice bunt and getting a clutch hit, or having a runner come home from third on an infield ground ball or something may end up being the ball game. So you have to be ready that way. And then later on in the year, as the temperatures get warmer and then maybe you get the southerly breezes and the one starts blowing out a little bit, you also have to be able to meet the other team swing for swing. And if it means you have to win a 10-9 game or even greater than that, you have to have the capabilities of doing that. So I've learned that you can't become a one-dimensional team. If you're going to be a one-dimensional team, you better be really good at that one dimension. And I don't think we have great team speed, but we have okay team speed. I don't think we have great power, but we have okay power. So in a sense, it's kind of what I like, to have a balanced team. So we'll be ready to do whatever it takes to win.
Have some of these guys that are used to playing Southern ball part of your Northern ball philosophy?
I think so. You know, you have to play smart, and you've got to make the plays on defense. You know, my philosophy in a nutshell is on defense, make the other team earn everything they get. We don't have a lot of gadgets. We don't have a lot of pick-off plays. We don't have a lot of that kind of stuff. We're just going to make the plays, throw to the right base, hit the cutoff man, have the pitchers pound the zone, and make smart pitches. But then on offense, I like to force the action. I like to take the fight to the other team. So if we get a guy on, unless the hitter's, a guy that, can't handle the batter, he's a home run hitter, you're going to see the runners getting in motion quite a bit with me. I like to start the runners. I like to hit and run and, force some action, steal third base, do those kind of things. And if we can get a run here, a run there, and then all of a sudden you get halfway through the game and you got a close game, and now you pop a 3-run homer, that's the way you break open the game. So a little balance will go a long way for us.
Coach, getting back to the pitching, do you have an idea on what your weekend rotation is going to be for the first weekend?
Right now we're preparing 4 guys to start. We're preparing Jared Bradford, Lewis Coleman, Clay Dirks, and Charlie Furbush. I haven't decided yet which 3 are going to start and who's going to come out of the bullpen. But all 4 of those guys, if Clay Dirks continues to develop, he's had some arm issues over the last few months. If he continues to develop, then it's going to give us 4 good options, and then I'll move one of those guys into the bullpen. I'm confident in our staff. We don't have a dominating staff. I mean, in the years to come, I'm hoping we're going to have a dominating staff. We don't have that kind of talent right now within the staff. But I'm confident in them because I think they all know how to pitch. When we get to the point where we have a dominant staff, where we can run 3 guys out there on the weekend that are going to pitch you 7-8 innings and strike out 10 batters and pitch you a low-run game, then I'll be able to develop a Tuesday and Wednesday starting pitcher, at least one of those days, okay? Until we get to that, what we're going to do is use our best pitchers on the weekend, and then in the middle of the week, we're just going to probably staff it up, where we use a lot of different relief pitchers for short stints and try to keep the other team off balance. But it hasn't been decided yet who's going to start. That decision will be made in the next 10 days or so.
Jordan, the guy that's maybe struggling to get the program.
Jordan Mayer? Michael, I'm really proud of Jordan Mayer. It's the same conversation I had with Jared Bradford, I had with Jared Bogany, I had with Jordan Mayer at the end of fall practice. And Jordan Mayer's attitude was, okay, I'll change, and I'll get with it, and I'll work hard. He came back from Christmas break. He'd shed about 15 pounds. The first 2 days that we had, simulated games, he hit 2 home runs. I mean, he looks better. He looks more intense. He's getting after it. And that was the whole goal of having these conversations with the kids. Sometimes kids react that way. Sometimes kids don't want to do that, and they feel like they're better served going somewhere else. I don't know where Jordan Mayer's going to be because he hasn't yet overtaken anybody, but he's right back in the mix, and only because he made the adjustments that were necessary. And I don't say these things to these kids to try to be a hard guy. I think that's the way the game's supposed to be played, and I think the kids will enjoy the game more if they're leaving it all out there on the field. I just want them to go out there and let it rip and have fun and play the game full blast, and if we get beat or they fail, at least they can feel that they went down swinging. I just can't stand it when kids don't go out there and give it all they got and go through the motions. I just can't sit back and tolerate that. And Jordan did that in the fall, but it looks like he's made some changes with his approach now. So he's back in the mix, and we'll just see how these next couple of weeks go.
Let's talk real quick about the names for the team. A lot of JUCO transfers, a lot of younger guys. How does that come into play for you guys?
That's a good question. I was waiting for somebody to ask me that. Actually, we are a pretty young team. I mean, if Jared Mitchell goes in center field, and Blake Dean's in one of the corner outfield spots, and Ryan Schimpf is the DH, and Sean Ochinko's the first baseman, I could have as many as 4 freshmen in the starting lineup. I mean, that's a lot. But I'll tell you, in 1999 and in 2004, my 2 teams at Notre Dame, I had 5 freshmen in the starting lineups each of those years, and we went to regionals and even hosted a regional one year. So when it comes to playing freshmen, I got the guts of a burglar to do that. I'm not afraid to do that, okay? I'm going to play the best kids that play the game the right way that give us the best chance to win. Sometimes you have to go through the growing pains with those kids, but it pays off in the long run. That 99 team with the 5 freshmen ended up going to the World Series in 2002 when they were seniors, and that was probably a big reason why. They developed quicker. So, we're going to be young in some areas. It's kind of strange, actually, Cole, because we're going to be young in some ways, but we also have some veterans in some ways, too. Like that pitching staff. If Charlie Furbush and Clay Dirks and Lewis Coleman and Jared Bradford are your top 4 pitchers, well, Clay Dirks is a graduating senior, and the other 3 guys are all draft eligible, and they could end up getting drafted after this year. So on one end, we could be losing guys. On the other end, be very young. So it's kind of a weird dynamic that we have going right now. But you guys from the Picayune got anything to say today? You just come for the free lunch? Huh? Okay. All right. All right. Anybody else? All right. Good to see you guys. All right.